Let's talk about the other AFC matchup, though, because I'm intrigued. Houston and Baltimore played each other week 1. This is not the same Houston Texans team that they played in week 1. We already talked about how great Stroud is. And I think that you and I, when it comes to Baltimore, kind of in the same boat where it's like, we've seen this movie before. Let's see you get to an AFC championship game and, kind of get that signature win. This isn't the same Baltimore team that we saw, in 2019 when they were bounced by the Titans. But I still think that if you watched Aaron Schatz and Mike Tanier today, the worst playoff quarterback apparently and DYAR is Lamar Jackson, which is quite the narrative if you wanted to talk about that. But I think that this game is very important for any sort of narrative that surrounds the Ravens.
There's nobody who's under more pressure this weekend. Nobody. And the only argument's Buffalo.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, the Niners, I don't know. Look, and this isn't some kind of like a pot shot at my West Coast brethren here, but like, it's just different out there. Like, it's not like the city of San Francisco has had how many titles to the Warriors recently?
Right.
Like, yeah, if the Niners lose, like the Niners are under pressure, but to me, it's not what Baltimore and Buffalo are under. Like, Baltimore, now you could say, hey, look, they've won Super Bowls in recent years, whatever, but like this iteration of the team, this group, they have not won in the playoffs. They just haven't. They've won one game. They beat Ryan Tannehill. That's been it. If they lose to the Texans, and by the way, fun fact, CJ Stroud and Lamar Jackson, same amount of playoff wins. Like if CJ Stroud goes in there and beats them, the number one defense in the NFL, if he goes in there and he beats them, and you're the 1 seed, like that's devastating.
Yeah.
As much as I think Ravens fans would be sorely disappointed, I think there's a little bit of, hey, look, man, whoever it is, whoever wins the Buffalo-Kansas City game, if they go in there and beat them, it's bitterly disappointing. But like, okay, those teams have been here for years. The Chiefs are a 2-time champion. The Bills have been knocking at the door forever. Houston showed up like an hour ago. Like if you lose to them, not that they're a bad team, but like they're not the caliber of Kansas City and Buffalo. If you lose to that team off of what really is like 3 weeks of rest here, that's devastating. And if you look at the Ravens, they got a lot of free agents coming up, man. Like a lot of them. I mean, Matt Abuke's a free agent. Odell Beckham is a free agent. Kevin Zeitler's a free agent. Jadeveon Clowney's a free agent. Kyle Van Noy. I mean, you go on and on and on. Geno Stone. They got to do it now. They got to do it right now. And I don't think there's anybody under more pressure than them, with the possible exception of Buffalo. I'll tell you what, it's going to be very interesting in the AFC. If one of those two teams at home this weekend falls behind 10-0, it's going to be a disadvantage playing at home because you're going to be able to feel the tension in that building.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, it's just happening again. And that is, I think it is imperative for both those teams. You got to get off to good starts. You don't have to be blowing the other team out. You cannot fall behind. You remember when Tennessee went in there and beat Baltimore in 2019? They were 14-0 immediately.
Yep.
And it was almost like you could feel the panic. It's going to be the same thing this way if Houston gets up early. And if Kansas City, if Mahomes is slicing and dicing and they're up 14-0 6 minutes into the game, it's going to be that same feeling like it was with Cincinnati last year when they went in there and they were immediately up. And you just had this feeling of like, oh, deja vu, here it is again. I think both those teams got to go off the hot starts.
Baltimore is also just not a team that's built to play from behind.
They're not. You're right, because the Bills can, but the Ravens not as much.
Yeah, and that's just the lack of weapons that they have. Like Zay Flowers is awesome. Is Mark Andrews playing in this game? Because I believe that they activated him and opened up his window.
Practice. My guess is he probably won't.
Okay.
But he is practicing.
Even then, though, like the weapons outside, it's been the focal point of the Ravens for as long as Lamar's been in the league. And Zay Flowers is cool, but I don't think Rashad Bateman's really scaring anybody. I don't think this iteration of Odell Beckham's really scaring anybody. Like their recipe is get up, get you in a bunch of different, or hit you with a bunch of disguises and hit you with pressure defensively and make you panic and make you throw the ball. If they have to be the aggressors offensively, I don't necessarily love their chances. And the Texans defense, like we've seen, like Stingley's played awesome. I think I saw Next Gen Stats. He held Amari Cooper to one catch when he was in coverage against him. Or no, one pass attempt his way, and he didn't allow a catch on Amari Cooper to get a catch in 35 coverage snaps. That's great. That's great. Will Anderson has played really well. Like their defense has guys at each level that have come alive, especially down the stretch. I think they opened up as 9.5-point dogs. I think they cover that.
Jonathan Grenard also is like 12 and a half sacks this year, and nobody talks about it.
Crazy.
Listen, I think of the teams on the road this weekend, I mean, I don't think I'm being a homer here by saying that of the four teams, the Chiefs probably have the best shot of anybody. I mean, just based on who they are. I think that's pretty fair. Of the other three teams, though, I'd give Houston the best shot. I would. Stroud's great, man. Like, that team.
I'm going to put you on the spot real quick. You taking Stroud over Lamar Jackson going forward?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
I am too.
Look, I think Baltimore is going to win based on a few factors. They're rested. The Texans are beat to hell. Okay.
Yeah.
The Ravens are at home. And I think there is a certain amount of like, it is now. We got to win right now.
That urgency.
Where the Texans, like, come on, man. Nobody in the world thought they'd be here. But that also can become a very powerful thing if they start to win that game. And it's like, hey, no pressure. Who cares? Play loose. Play with some joy. Like, all of a sudden, it changes. And it changes in a hurry. Like, I think the urgency is a good thing until it's not. Like, it's a good thing until you're down by 10 points. Like I said, I think that really matters in these games. I have a hard time seeing either team on the road in the NFC win their games. I just don't see that. I think either team in the AFC, particularly Kansas City, based on their track record, can go on the road and win these games.